Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Anchorage Ice Tigers Draft to Glory MyNBA here in NBA 2K26. So last episode, if you did not catch it, basically we had the best season in NBA history as we managed to accumulate 76 wins this season, which is the best record, like I said, in all of the NBA in terms of the season and also all seasons combined, because the best season before this was technically Golden State's record still, but we managed to beat it with such a great record this season, which is really crazy because obviously we're coming off 3 straight championships. We didn't really expect to get much better, especially considering we were battling some injuries throughout the season, but the team still managed to go 76-6, which was technically 21 more wins than the next closest team. So some insane work from our team. I'd expect our team to easily go for a 4-peat this year, but then again, we could always get cheese potentially, and our chances at going for that 4-peat could be ended. But I do think we should be able to beat pretty much any team in our path, because you can see the next closest team in the East technically was Philadelphia with 59 wins. Obviously, we just mentioned Dallas. We were 21 wins up on them. So I think we should be able to beat pretty much any team in the playoffs if we want to. Like, you look at the differential as well. Every team is technically below 10 in differential, while we were almost at 20. So our team's absolutely cooking, and I would not expect anything less than another good run this year. Obviously, if we do go out early, I don't really care that much in a way, just because we had such a great season, but obviously it would be nice to kind of continue to win some playoff rounds and win more championships, just to make this team one of the best teams of all time in NBA history, with that said. So let's first and foremost show you what the problem is, though, going into this playoff series. The problem that happened during the season was that Rex Wright seemed to be pretty injury prone. He's currently out for 6 to 8 weeks with right knee tendonitis, and he's been injured multiple times throughout the season, which is not ideal. So I am a little bit worried on Rex Wright. The thing is with him, he's 29 years old already, and if he continues to have these injury problems, you can see that he's got a high risk in terms of his hip at the moment. I think it would not be a good thing to potentially re-sign him. So there is a chance that in the end of his contract, which ends in another year or so, if he's still battling a lot of injuries, maybe we still decide to think about letting him go, just because technically by that logic, we could obviously sign more players, and then we could use guys like Washburn in spots where Wright was before that. So I think we might be able to replace Wright. I don't necessarily want to let go of players in this series, but at the same time, if we have to let go of players, they probably should be the injury-prone ones. So I'm not too sure how long Rex Wright will still be with this team, but I kind of still want to play him. Of course, he's a fantastic player. Of course, the finals MVP, a regular season MVP, 3 championships, 4 All-Star games, and then some All-NBA team stuff. But it would make a lot of sense probably for us to obviously play with the players that are not getting injured all the time. Also, we could be losing guys to retirement relatively soon, like Carroll's getting up there in age, Bishop's getting up there in age, Westbrook probably still has some years left as well, but this team definitely will eventually start to probably, I would assume, fall back unless we continue to draft well, because we do still have some good young options that I really like Washburn, for instance. I would like to be playing guys like JT Warren more often, but unfortunately we haven't been able to because of all the main guys being taking away the playing time. Like, even Anderson would be great. He's got a potential, but unfortunately for us, we have such a deep roster that these guys are not getting the playing time. Same goes with Jimmy Bowman. So maybe eventually at some point we want to think about letting go of some of the older veterans and replace them with younger guys. But right now, we obviously want to continue trying to win some championships before we kind of fall back a little bit and then try to build it back up again. So anyways, with that said, let's get you guys' comments. See what you guys have to say about last episode, and then we'll show you guys what OKC looks like again, and we'll get into that first round matchup. So the first and only comment is from The Real Divinity, who says, another stellar season. Those injuries aren't very good as well, but I could see that it won't stop this team from continuing their tear. Go Ice Tigers, bring in the 4th championship to Anchorage. And yeah, I don't think the injuries really hurt us that much, obviously, during the season, because we had such a great regular season. Last year was the same type of thing, because we did battle injuries throughout the playoffs a little bit and the regular season, yet our team was still able to win the championship. So I think we could definitely through some adversity again. It just sucks that obviously Rex won't be in the lineup again in the playoffs to start, because last year he was injured. I think it was in round 2, and then he was not in the lineup for the rest of the playoffs. Basically missed our championship celebration and all that pretty much. And in this season, like I said, he's been injured. I think it was 2 or 3 different times. So he's all of a sudden becoming more and more injury prone, which is not ideal. But let's show you guys what OKC looks like again, just in case you forgot. Also, I apologize about if you guys watched my Be a Pro series and stuff like that. I didn't put an episode out yesterday, and this episode's actually going out late because I was actually like sick for the last like 3 or 4 days. So just kind of getting over that cold now. My voice still doesn't sound 100%. You could probably tell on that. Just thought I would let you know on that fact, but anyways, this is what the Thunder look like, and they're actually looking pretty good for a team that was in the playing round. As you can see, like CJ Phillips, Carl Hart, and Steven Madsen, or Stephen Madsen, one of the two, are all really good. John Patton's actually not a bad player either. Zach Red, solid, and then there is Toppich as well as a decent player. And you can see their bench players, like they have some okay options too. Schumacher, Hardy, Hughes. Like, it's definitely a better team than you'd expect, but I don't think it still matches up really to our team that much. But I do think they could, if they wanted to, steal a game, because there has been some playing around teams that have stolen games from us before. So I would not put it past them to steal maybe one game against us. But I do think, obviously, by far, we are the better team in a lot of different areas. I guess technically this area could actually compare the two of us. So technically this means that they'd be better at that team in a certain area. So if we go down to our Ice Tigers here, for instance, technically they are better than us in 3-point shots made per game. Their 3-point percentage was better than ours, is what I'm seeing. Or are we better than them at 3-point percentage? I'm not too sure which arrow means which. There's no grid or anything saying which the down arrows mean. I would assume that means that they're worse in offensive rebounds per game, but I can't tell for sure. So, yeah, anyways, I'll just skim through this in case you guys wanted to see some comparison stats here. But I don't... Oh, yeah, actually, I guess technically differential. Yeah, we had a 19.3 differential. So the green means we were better than them at it. The red means they were better than us at it, I think. I think that's how it works, if I'm not mistaken. So technically, they might have been better at this. They might have been better at this, but everything else pretty much they're obviously way worse than us at. I think that's what it means. I think, but I could be completely wrong with that. So sometimes it's tough to read stuff in this game because there's so much stuff in depth that this makes it tough to read. So anyways, I think we're ready to get into this matchup. Let's double check our game plan here. Obviously, this is the lineup that we're going to be running, and obviously it's a very filthy lineup. Hopefully, we're getting a decent amount of playing time through our lineup. Still looks like Warren's going to be getting some playing time. Lloyd's getting playing time. Anderson and Bowman aren't getting any playing time. I kind of want Bowman to get some playing time. So I think, and I would like Anderson playing time, but Warren doesn't really have much potential. But how did he do when he did play in the lineup? Let's see. 5 points per game as a bench option's not bad. He does have, I think, some decent offensive attributes. But yeah, 4 points per game on average. Then we have Anderson, 2.2. Anderson wasn't doing much offensively. Jimmy Bowman was barely playing any minutes, but he's averaging 1.4. I think Bowman would be fun to put in the lineup, but at the same time, I don't know if there's a realistic way for me to get him in. Like, obviously, next year I'm going to be probably not having Jonathan Bridges on this team, so likely letting him go with him and Lloyd should give most of these guys some more playing time. So I think for right now, we're probably just going to go with what the coach suggests. But obviously, we could make some adjustments after each round or game, because we aren't going to be back with right in our lineup till, like, I guess technically maybe round 3, if that's 6 to 8 weeks away. I'm not too sure. But yeah, it's going to be a long, long time without him. Also, one thing I wanted to mention is the one team that I think is a dark horse this year, like I mentioned in the last episode, is probably Milwaukee. They had multiple All-Star representatives. They were a playing round team. I think they're a type of team that could go on a run this year. So if they do get past the first round, I feel like they're the type of team that could get to a finals this year, just like Charlotte did when they were a playing round team before. So anyways, with that said, let's get into this matchup and see what we could do against the Thunder. We've never played them before in the playoffs, so this should be kind of interesting. Let's see if we could get off to a good start on home court, because obviously we'll have home court advantage for every single playoff game, probably for the next couple of years, just because we're always the best team in the league until we start to lose players. But let's see how this team starts off this game. Hopefully we can get off to a good start offensively. I feel like this should be a pretty easy series for us, but like I said, OKC probably could steal a game if they really wanted. let's see what happens anyways. First quarter underway. And hopefully we stay more healthy in this playoffs too, because obviously if we get into injury trouble, that's usually something that could derail our team a little bit, is if we have like a lot of our starters going down with injuries, because then we'd have to rely on our bench options. And our bench options aren't bad, but they're not obviously proven players yet because of the fact that a lot of them haven't really gotten that playing time during the regular season because of how deep our main 6 players are. So we definitely got to think about maybe getting rid of some people at some point, I would assume. And at the end of the first quarter, it's going to be 30-25. Pretty good. We were trailing for a lot of that quarter, so kind of nice to see the team manage to grab that lead. In terms of the box score so far, Westbrook and Lloyd are on 5 points apiece, so kind of surprised Lloyd's on 5 points already. Then we have Goodwin, Bishop, and Warren on 4 points as well. So a couple bench options stepping up big time in that first, because Evans is already on only 2 points. Semenko's on 2. Carroll's on 2. But yeah, like I said, a couple bench options really stepped up. Like even Bridges had 2 points. So that's a good start for those guys. And hopefully the starters kind of find their offense a little bit, because we can't rely on our bench to win us this game, I don't think. But who knows? Anyway, second quarter underway. Can we continue to build up this lead? Also, my voice is really sore right now, so I'm really hoping that I don't have to clear my throat as super amount, because of the fact that this cold that I've been battling is like a really bad sinus cold. So it makes me feel congested consistently, and it's not fun at all. So I really hope that it's gone by the time I have to record tomorrow or something like that, just because I've been battling it since like Saturday around technically. Okay, so this game's pretty damn close again. They've actually grabbed that lead back from us, and at the end of the first half, they're going to be up by 1 point, 57-56. So they definitely are playing tougher than I expected in this first game, but like I said, I think our team should be able to figure itself out in the rest of this game and the series. But right now, we're not getting the best scoring from our starters, because JT Warren's leading the team in points with 9 points through 8 minutes, so it's good I didn't take him out of the lineup. Bishop's on 8 points. Goodwin and Westbrook are on 7. Looks like we're getting good depth scoring, but Semenko and Evans are off to a bit of slow starts. They only have 1 foul apiece, but they only have 4 points through 15 minutes. So we definitely need playoff Evans to show up, and we need also Semenko to maybe start to doing a little bit more. He's doing okay rebounding-wise, but he needs to picking up more points too, because he's usually a pretty good 3-point shooter, if I'm not mistaken. So... but a team comparison at halftime right now, technically both teams are close in field goal percentage. We're a little bit better than they are. They're better at 3-pointers, but the difference in the game right now, I guess, is that 3-point shooting, because technically we're better in free throws as well. So we're only 4 for 13 from 3-point range. We got to be better at that. They're 6 for 15, which isn't crazy either, but it's a little bit better, of course, than us, and that's really basically what has them up by 1 right now at this point in time. So let's see if we can have a good third quarter. Not the best second quarter, but let's see if we could get off to a good start in the second half and get that lead back, just because right now it seems like both teams are trading lead quite a bit. Third quarter underway. Can we get that lead back? As they are going on a little bit of a run, but usually they'll kind of stall out a little bit, I would assume, just because they're kind of a lower seeded team. But our team's not really doing as good as I was hoping to start this game in the series, but at the same time, we know it could be a long series, and we know we've had some really big comebacks in the past that we don't need to probably stress too much, but we are down by double-digit points almost, and all of a sudden, we're kind of trying to pull back into it, but we're also giving them a lot more offense than they probably should be getting, because going into the third, it looks like we're going to be trailing by around 10 points, which is not ideal. As it's going to be 96-92, never mind. I guess we started to build up near the end of it, so we're only down by 4 points. But once again, we get outscored in that quarter, so I don't know who's underperforming still, but they need to step up. Evans definitely stepped up big time in that quarter. He only had those 2 points before this, I think it was, or 4 points, something like that. But he definitely stepped up big time in this quarter. Bishop on 13 points. You have Goodwin and Westbrook on 11. So our starters are starting to pick up points, and that could be definitely what helps us win potentially in the fourth. Semenko's on 10. Warren's on those 9 points still. Washburn has 7 in 17 minutes. That's not bad. Lloyd's on 5. Carroll's only on 4. So Carroll as a starter has been pretty disappointing in this game. He does have 7 assists, which is great. But 5 fouls in 21 minutes and only having 4 points. We need a little bit more offense out of him. He's 2 for 11 in field goal percentage and 0 for 5 from 3-point range, which is not good whatsoever. And then Bridges is more of a defensive player, so I don't really expect him to do much offensively for us. But right now, the main difference is, I think, yeah, it's still the three-point shooting. We're shooting 33% now. They're shooting 38%, but free throws are very similar. They're actually doing a little bit better than us now, but they're very similar. And this one, in terms of field goal percentage, we're better at. So right now, the difference, I think, is the three ball. So if we could get the three ball going, getting our starters to get more points potentially too, we could definitely still win this game. So big fourth quarter here. Can we find a way to win this fourth quarter and win this first game in the series? Let's see what happens. Hopefully Evans continues to pick up where he left off, though, in that last quarter, because that was a big quarter for him. And I know that he usually could bring that type of offense in the playoffs, as now we're into the back and forth stage, which is always a little nerve-wracking, especially late in games. And, oh no, they're up by 5 points now. What the hell was that? Somebody must have hit a three. Still a close game. We're going to go down to slow sim speed for those last 5. As it is close still, but we could end up losing our first game of the series, which is not ideal, because I don't know if we've ever trailed in a series. Have we ever trailed in a series in this championship run that we've had the last few years? I guess, oh yeah, I guess we did at one point, because there was that one series last year, I think, that we fell down 0-2, but then we won 4 straight games or something like that, so I don't know, but we're only down by 2 points. It's 3 minutes left. Let's see if we could tie this one up. The answer is yes, we can. 2:58 left. It's a 119-119 game. Let's keep on going for a little bit. They get a 2-ball. I thought it was a 3-ball at first, and we answer right back again. Oh, no, then they get a point there. Should I jump in and watch this? This is only game 1, though, so probably not, because or else this episode might be too long. They're up by 3 points with 1:31. Can we hit a 3-point shot? Oh, no, now we're down by 3 still. Oh my goodness, they're going to find a way to win because they're up by 6 points now, I think, at this point. We're only down by a couple points. Come on, boys. Oh my goodness, I think they're going to actually beat us in this first game. Potentially, we're down by 4. They just keep on getting points. We're down by 6 still. Yeah, we're going to lose this game, I think. I think we are. Down by 5 points with 11 seconds. Yep, we lose game 1 by a score of 136-131. As we unfortunately lose our first game of the series. It's been a while since we've fallen down 1-0 in round 1, but like I said, I think OKC's the type of team that could steal a game, and they just barely beat us. Damn, that sucks. That sucks to lose that first game in a series, but obviously it was a close game. It's just I think our 3-ball shooting wasn't up to the snuff as theirs was. So Evans dropped 28 points. Solid game for him, of course. Semenko dropped 23. Solid game for him. It's kind of funny because these two struggled early on, but then they became our best players. Then we had Goodwin on 17 points. Bishop on 17 and 10 rebounds. 15 for Westbrook. 11 for Washburn. Warren with 9 off the bench. Carroll is probably the reason why we lost that game, to be honest. Only 4 points and 6 fouls, and then obviously the 8 assists is decent, but his shooting was terrible, and that's a big reason why we probably lost that game. Because he had a 3-point percentage there, 44%, we were 27%, and then in terms of field goal percentage, we were 52%, they were 50%, free throws were 81 to their 79, so definitely the difference was the fact that we could not hit threes, and they could. And in offensive rebounds, they actually out-rebound us offensively and defensively, which doesn't happen that often. There's a team that's able to do that against us. So that's an unfortunate loss because we did lead after the first quarter, but then they technically won every other quarter after that. So definitely got to work on some things, but like I said, I'm not too worried because our team is usually pretty good at responding after a tough game like that. Let's go rebuild rotations, get the coach to do whatever he wants to, and hopefully we could get some guys going a little bit more that were a little bit flat in that game. Like Carroll's getting a little bit more reduced minutes. Evans is obviously getting more minutes because he's insane, but kind of surprised to lose our first game because we only lost 6 games technically all regular season. Now we've already lost 1/6 of that to start the playoffs. It's kind of nuts, but let's see if we can respond. Obviously, we have not lost the series yet. If we find a way to win this game, we just need to make sure that we win at least a game in OKC to set ourselves up for okay scenarios. So let's see what happens with game 2. And hopefully this team kind of learns from its mistakes. Hopefully having No Rex right in our lineup isn't going to hurt us that much because last year, like I said, he was out of our lineup for the entire playoffs almost. So we should be able to still win games without him, considering our coaching staff is all the same, that type of thing. But anyways, let's see what happens. First quarter underway here in game 2. I'm going to drink some water because my voice is absolutely dying. All right, so far pretty even first. At least our offense seems like it's off to a good start again like last game. But afterwards, we got to make sure that the second and beyond, we're at least getting up points as well. Because obviously, that's where we fell apart, is the fact that we were kind of falling apart in the second and the third and all that. As they have grabbed the lead now, that's not ideal. And at the end of the first quarter, they're going to have a 6-point advantage. So is OKC the type of team that's going to somehow cheese us in the first round going for a 4-peat? If we lose 4 games in the playoffs and only 6 in regular season stuff, that's going to be insane. So I really hope this team isn't falling apart here in the playoffs. But like I said, we have fallen down 0-2 before, and then we won 4 straight games. So maybe that's this type of series. I'm not too sure. But to start this game, Goodwin's on a really good start. 7 points through 6 minutes. And we have Westbrook on 6 points. Everybody else is 3 and below. So definitely could use a bit more depth scoring. And then also guys like Carroll should be getting more points and all that. But an okay start, I guess. But the fact that we're trailing is not ideal. We are still better in field goal percentage. We are better in 3-point percentage to start this. But they have had way more trips to the free throw line. They've had 12 trips to the free throw line. We've had 3. Which means there is some guys that are already fouling too much. Like Goodwin's already on 2 fouls. Bunch of guys are on 1. Carroll's already got 2 fouls in 4 minutes. And he did foul last game as well. So right now, Carroll has been kind of a bit of a disappointment in the series, so he's got to step up eventually and be more disciplined too, because I know he likes to steal the ball and all that, so maybe that's how he's getting those fouls, but he needs to be careful in these situations. We did re-sign him, of course, and I think I re-signed him at least. Maybe I didn't re-sign him yet, but he is one of the original guys on this team technically, so... And he is our thumbnail person too, so we need to make sure that he's representing us quite well, or else maybe eventually we'll have to change over to Evans on the thumbnail or something like that. But anyways, let's see what happens in the second quarter, see if we could get our offense going again, because 23 points in a quarter isn't really going to cut it. Second quarter underway. Come on, guys. Let's go on a run here and find that offense. We are the best team in the league during the season. We are a historic team. We got to be able to find ways to win in the playoffs as well. We got to be able to. Because obviously if we somehow lose, then it will be a historic loss to go with our historic regular season. Technically, I guess the Golden State Warriors record, that was the best record in NBA history before this. Technically, I think if I remember right, they lost in the finals that year. So, I mean, if that repeats, I mean, we would lose, of course, but I do think our team has it in us to go for that 4-peat. Obviously, in real life, Golden State wasn't going for a 4-peat at that time. I think they're still going for their first championship with Curry, if I'm not mistaken. So, at that point, or maybe they won a few years before that. I wasn't a full-on NBA fan at those points, so I don't really know exactly. But anyways, 54-52. We do have the lead at halftime, which is good. So that's at least something different about last game, but it's only by 2 points. Evans has already got 9 points, so Goodwin's on 7. A lot of guys on 6, which is good. And Lloyd and Semenko 5 and 4. We could probably use more out of Semenko a little bit. And then the foul trouble is definitely quite evident still, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys on 2 fouls already. It's not in foul trouble really, because obviously you foul out at 6, but it is a little risky. And then there's a couple guys on 1, so they probably have way more trips to the free throw line still than us, my guess, I would assume. I didn't want to go over their stats. So field goal percentage we're better at. 3-point percentage we're doing better at so far. Even though we've hit the same amount of shots, they've put up more. And in free throw percentage, we're better at that than they are right now, 7 for 10. But they've been to the free throw line 20 times. We've only been 10 times. So we got to start being a little bit more disciplined, and hopefully we also get more trips to the free throw line, because that could help us build up a bigger lead, of course. Anyways, third quarter underway. But man, my voice is already starting to go completely raspy on me. Like, I was also talking a lot last night to one of my friends after playing floor hockey, and it just got even worse, my voice. So, Yeah, my voice is going to be pretty shot after this, so I probably can't even record technically the video for tomorrow yet until actually the morning of tomorrow. So probably if you guys are watching this and you watch like my Europe series and NHL and all that stuff, know that probably the Europe series will be uploaded a little bit later than 11 because I actually have to record it that day similar to this. But looks like we're having a really good third quarter here, and we're playing more like that championship caliber team that we've seen in the past. Because now we're already over 100 points in the game. We scored 48 points in the third. We gave up 41, which isn't great, but 48 points in a quarter might be one of the highest point quarters we ever had. And so far, Evans is on 21 points. He's already only got 2 fouls. Washburn's on 16. Washburn's a fantastic player. That's what I mean. He could literally step in, and I think he could be a really good player for this team going forward if he continues to grow. Bishop on 14 points, solid. Goodwin's in foul trouble, which is weird because usually he's not the type to foul a lot, but he's on 5 fouls already. Westbrook on 11 points, Semenko 9. Carroll's on 4 fouls. There is a couple guys that are close to fouling out, so we got to be very careful about that. A lot of our starters are technically in foul territory because Bishop's got 3 too, so hopefully they play a little bit more disciplined in the fourth. So far, they've definitely still had a lot more trips to the free throw line than us, but we're lucky that our 3-ball is working in this game compared to last game. So let's see if we can lock this game down and tie the series up before we head to OKC. Fourth quarter underway. Let's see if we can build up a bigger lead, but right now we're a little bit slow to start off our offense here in this fourth quarter, but the good thing is we're still up by 8 points. But obviously, we can't be staying too long without points because that's, like I always say, is when the other team starts to get back into games. Like right now, it's all of a sudden a 5-point game with 5 minutes left. We got to be careful here. But looks like at least our offense is trying to counteract theirs, basically. Looks like we should be in the clear pretty much to win this game now because they went way too long without getting points. It is close again now, though. All of a sudden, a 6-point game. Let's just make sure they don't have any threes to answer to that. We're up by still 6 points with 19 seconds. And we are going to tie the series up. It was another close game, 127 to 122. So far, the series has been maybe one of the closer ones we've had in the last few years. In terms of box score, Evans dropped 23 points in the game, 7 rebounds, 9 assists. Great game for him. He did have 3 turnovers, though, which is probably not ideal, but it's okay. Then Bishop was on 22 points, 9 rebounds. We had Washburn on the 18 points. Westbrook on 16. Westbrook fouled out too. Interesting. 6 fouls for him. Carroll on 13 points. Goodwin fouled out too. So that's maybe why this game became close again, is because 2 of our starters, they both fouled out. Semenko on 9 points only. Not the best for him, but 7 rebounds, 5 assists. So doing a couple things. But he also fouled out. So I think that's a big reason why, for sure, that the other team was able to get back into it, because we had 3 starters foul out in this game. I don't know how late into the game that was, but still, not ideal. Bowman played 1 minute and hit a 3-point shot, so that's almost a difference in the game right there when you look at it. So nice to see that Jimmy Bowman got to play a little bit. Like I said, he's a really good player. He apparently had 3 free throws, so I guess he shot a 3-point shot. It says he was 0 for 0 from 3 points attempted, though, so I don't know how he got three throws in, because I thought he would have got fouled on a free throw or 3-point shot and then got to the line. But and then apparently Peterson also actually played a minute and had a rebound, and it was an offensive rebound. All right, shout out to some of our younger guys. We were better in field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, and our free throws were better, but they had still 17 more trips to the free throw line than us in this game. So, yeah, we got to be a little bit more disciplined going forward. And that's always been kind of a problem of our team. I don't know if it's to do with the perimeter centricness of our team, but there's always been some issues with fouling and all that. All right, minutes have been readjusted again. We'll go with that. Just let the coach do his magic, and let's get to game 3 in OKC. I got to get through these games relatively quick so my voice doesn't completely go on me, or else I'm going to be just basically silent mouthing this. Anyways, let's see what happens in the first quarter of this first game in OKC. I feel like the arena, isn't it named like Chesapeake or something, or it used to be? I don't know why that's coming to my mind. I don't honestly know the name of the arena, but I feel like it's something along those lines. But anyways, first quarter underway. Let's see how we do here on the road. Looks like so far I'm getting off to a good start offensively. Maybe we're continuing some of that mojo over from last game. Because last game we had obviously a really good third quarter, and that's what set us up for that win. It looks like we're getting a good start here. And not really going too long without picking up points. Now all of a sudden this game's kind of getting closer again, but it's still at least a double-digit lead for us. So we don't need to be too scared here. But looks like at the end of the first quarter, we're going to have a lead. Technically it was 35-31, but they got a two-pointer to start the second quarter. Let's take a look at the box score. So far, Westbrook has already 12 points, which is fantastic. And it also looks like so far we are not really in foul trouble whatsoever, because the only foul I see is Evans. Goodwin does have 2 in 3 minutes, so that's probably not good. Bishop has 1, so there is a couple fouls, but it's not as much as you typically expect from this team. So hopefully we can stay like that in the second quarter as well, because obviously once we get into foul trouble, that's usually when the other team makes it close, because other players of ours foul out. So anyways, rolling up by 2 right now. Let's continue assimilating the second quarter and see if we could have a lead going into halftime. Because obviously if we could win the first 2 quarters, that'd be huge for us, but hopefully we also have a really good back half of this game as well. Because you got to be kind of consistent in the NBA. You can't have just one really good quarter. You got to be able to put in at least like the same amount of points as the other team in the next quarters and stuff like that. Or else that's when they start getting closer to you and then they try and grab that lead. So looks like at this end of the second quarter, we're going to have quite the lead. Probably the biggest lead of this this round so far is at the end of it. It's going to be a 73-60 lead. So we've built up a 13-point gap. That's a pretty damn good way to start off this game. So far, Westbrook's already on 18 points with no fouls. So Westbrook is turning back the clock quite a bit. He's doing really good. Semenko and Evans are on 14 points. Still not a lot of fouls throughout our lineup, because Bishop's on 2 fouls. Everybody else that is fouling is only on 1. Goodwin has 4 fouls, though, in 8 minutes. I don't know who he's guarding, but he fouled out already 1 game before this. He's definitely having a really tough time here. The good thing is, if he fouls out at least, gives players like Washburn more of an opportunity to play. And then also maybe Jimmy Bowman will drop in or something like that. But obviously we don't really want people fouling out. So far, 58% to 53%. We're doing much better 3-point shooting since game 1. And then in terms of free throws, both teams have not had a lot of trips to the free throw line, surprisingly. And both teams are basically the same, 90 and 91%. So it is a close game still, but the good thing is we're up by 13. So let's see if we could have a good third quarter here. And like I said, hopefully we have a good second half here to kind of maintain this type of lead for the rest of it, so we don't have to worry about them getting closer to us. Third quarter underway. Let's see if we could go on a good run, because obviously dry spells are not good in the NBA. You got to be putting in points basically every time you're out there, because or else if you stop doing it, like look at this, there's a little stretch where we had no points for a bit. So that's why this game is under single digits now, or under double digits, I should say. Oh man, my brain does not feel great today still. All right, final little bit here of the third quarter as they are trying to get back closer to us. It's going to be a score of 99-89, so it's down to a 10-point gap. They do outscore us in that third, but at least it's still a 10-point gap, which is pretty good at this point. The only thing is obviously they are a little bit closer than before. Westbrook's up to 26 points with 1 foul, so Westbrook's absolutely balling right now. He's almost 10 points up on the next closest player, which is Semenko, so Dennis is having a good game. Evans is on 14, Carroll on 12, Bishop's on 10 and 11 rebounds, so he's doing good rebounding-wise. Goodwin didn't actually foul anybody in that quarter, which is good because that means maybe he won't foul out by the end of this game. Washburn on 4 points only through 20 minutes. Definitely need more out of Washburn in terms of scoring, but at least he's assisting well, and he's not like the most important player to pick up points, but obviously you want some of your bench options to do well, because or else then the game ends up being pretty close still. So let's see what happens in this fourth quarter. See if we're able to maintain a 10-point lead going into the end of the game, or if this game will get close again and we'll actually have to worry a little bit, because every game so far in the series has been pretty tight, so this one's kind of tight a little bit too. Fourth quarter underway. Let's just make sure that we're matching them point for point, so to speak, because right now they are a little bit scary that they're getting closer and closer to our point total. It's all of a sudden a 5-point game again. That's not good. That's not good at all. We got to be careful here. Got to be careful. Okay, now we're up to 6 points. Oh my goodness, this is scary. It's a 2-point game with 5:40 left. No, boys, don't blow this, please. Let's go to slow for this last 5:40. Like I said, every game has been airtight. We were up by 13 points at one point, but now all of a sudden it's a one-possession game because we kind of sat back a bit too much. Probably some people are fouling out too, and that's making a bit of a difference, my guess. Continuing on to this fourth quarter, looks like we're still getting some points, which is good, but obviously it's still very, very tight. Okay, it's a 2-possession game. All of a sudden, 6 points up. 8 points up. Okay, I think we might be getting closer to being in the clear, but 7 points up is still not a lot for this point in the game. Okay, now we're in the clear pretty much. We're back up by 12 points again, so a little bit of a scare near the end of this game, but I think we should have this one in the bag. Yep, we're going to. That's good. As we started to learn how to play defense and our offense started to figure itself out again, as we're going to win this game in OKC by the final score of 136 to 121. So that was the least closest game of this series so far because we ended up winning by 15 points. So we outscored them in 3 of 4 quarters, which is good. Westbrook dropped 32 points, so shout out to Westbrook. He's still a baller, and I'm glad that we still have him. Evans on 23 points is good. Semenko on 21. None of those guys fouling out. Carroll dropped 18 points, so Carroll had a big retribution game because, like I said, so far up to this game, he wasn't really great. Goodwin on 15 points. He didn't foul out at all, so I'm kind of surprised he didn't foul out, but he found his offensive game. Bishop 11, 13-2. Love to see that. Washburn, like I said, not a lot of points, but he did pick up 6 assists, so he's at least distributing the ball well. Lloyd on 4 points. Warren on 4 points. Bridges on 2, and that's it. All right. What about team comparison? We are better than them at everything, basically, but not by much. 53-51, 44-42, and 88-84. So the win by 15 is kind of surprising on that front. They still out-rebounded us in that game. They had 20 offensive rebounds to our 14 and 29 defensive rebounds to our 27. So kind of surprised we're getting out-rebounded. But at the same time, maybe they have a bit of a bigger lineup than we do. So we've taken our first lead of the series, which is great to see coming off of a loss in Game 1. Hopefully we continue to roll that into Game 4. All right, let's go to our coaching game plan here and get set up for another game, of course, as we look to potentially take a 3-1 series lead. Was somebody injured? Because Goodwin's usually, I don't think, the number 1 shooting guard. Oh, actually, that's usually Wright is, right? That is right. So there hasn't been any injuries other than Rex still. Okay, that's good. Because if there's any other injuries on this team, that's when I think it could hurt us a little bit more than you'd expect. But our team has been playing a little bit better as of late. Some close games, of course. Like, we could have probably won Game 1, to be honest. But it's good to see that we at least managed to find a way to win this first game in OKC. And hopefully we can find a way to win the next one. So that way we could be 1 win away for going back to the next round. Where if we do get to the next round, we would have to maybe be playing San Antonio again, which we played them last year in the first round. So we'll be interesting if that's the case again. Lakers are up 2-1 right now. Minnesota's up 2-1. Philly's up 3-0 on Charlotte. So looks like Philadelphia's still a major threat, of course. Miami's up 2-1. Detroit's up 2-1. Washington's up 2-1. So there's not a lot of 3-0 series. The only one is Philadelphia's series and San Antonio's series. So a lot of tight series. Honestly, I have no idea what to expect from some of these other teams, but let's keep it rolling. Let's get to the next game and see if we could take a stranglehold potentially in this one. First quarter underway. Can we have another good game? Obviously, last game we won most of the quarters, which is where we won the game basically. So hopefully we could do that again. And hopefully we don't have any of these quarters that we end up losing badly, or basically it's kind of evened out a bit where basically they keep it close enough and then they could reach us in another quarter or something like that. But looks like right now our offense is getting off to a good start again. Their offense is off to a solid start though too, because it's only a 3-point game basically. And now it looks like our offense is starting to find itself again, trying to push a double-digit lead, but we're not going to be able to get that. We do get a 6-point lead after the first quarter, though, so I'll take that start for sure. 37 points is not bad whatsoever. Westbrook's already on 8 points, so Westbrook might be the best player in this first round for us right now. Carroll's already on 6 points, so he's definitely learned since his first 2 games this series. And we have Goodwin and Semenko on 6 apiece. Washburn's on 5 off the bench, so he might be doing more than last game for sure at this rate. But he does already have 3 fouls, so he's having a little bit of trouble keeping disciplined. Evans is only on 2 points, which is kind of surprising, but I do expect him to get better as this game goes on. Same goes with Bishop, for instance. But so far, solid start. Only up by 6 points. Not ideal, but it's better than being trailing or being up by only like 1 possession. So let's see what happens in the second quarter. See if we can take this lead into halftime. Let's go. It's interesting to see Westbrook leading our team in points, though, in these last few games because he's obviously 30 years old. So I think he's the 3rd oldest player on this roster, but he still can shoot the ball really well. So that's basically why he's probably such a great offensive player still. As we're in that back and forth stage now, which is not necessarily an ideal thing for us considering we were up by 6 at one point, but at least it's still somewhat close, and now they're starting to build up a bit of a lead here as they are going on a run near the end of the first quarter, which is our first half, I should say, which is not good. And at halftime, we are going to be down by, I guess, 6. Or not 6, my bad, 8 points. So more than 2 possessions. So that's not good. That was definitely a bad quarter to have. We only scored 22 points. So our offense fell off and we gave them basically 36 points, which is as much as we had in the first quarter. So not great. Not great whatsoever. So far, though, Westbrook's still leading with 14 points. We have Semenko on 10, 8 for Carroll, or 8 for Goodwin. I mean, Carroll on 7, Evans on 7, Washburn on 5, Bishop on 4. Tough to say where we're going wrong right now. Lloyd does have 4 fouls off the bench. Washburn has 4 fouls off the bench. Maybe that. Let's see, team comparison. We're better in field goal percentage, better in three-point percentage, and better in free throws, but they've had 50 more attempts to the free throw line. So that's the difference in the game right now, is the fact that they've had hit 10 more free throws than us, but in more attempts, because those 10 points basically are the difference in the game, so to speak, right now. So we got to be more disciplined again. We got to be more disciplined. And I don't want people fouling out every single game because, like I said, I think it's part of the perimeter-centric style or something, because maybe you would go a little bit more aggressive for stealing the ball, my guess, and maybe that's what causes a little bit of issues in our team to foul players. But we are still in this game. We just got to make sure that we have a good third quarter here, and then we could obviously still win the game if it's closer going into the fourth. So let's have a good third quarter here and respond to a tough second. Third quarter underway. And so far, their offense is off to a good start. But our offense is starting to come back in this game a bit. It's only a few point differential right now. But their offense seems to be still doing really well, which is not what I was expecting. But it is a very close game now all of a sudden. It's a 1-point game. And now we're back into the back and forth territory. But all of a sudden, they go up by 5 points again. So it's not as close anymore. But we are starting to make this game a little bit closer again than it was before. And at the end of the third quarter, we actually outscored them in that quarter 32-31, but they are up by 7 points. So instead of being up by 8, they're only up by 7 now. It is still close enough to come back in this game. And we know our team has that offense. It's just all about if people fouled out or not. Because if we have a starter that fouled out, of course, it's going to make it tougher to come back. Goodwin's dropped 19 points so far. We have Evans and Westbrook on 17. Semenko's on 14. Carroll's on 9. Washburn on 6, Bishop on 5 and 5. Bishop could probably be doing a bit more. Lloyd on 2, Ward on 2, and nothing from Bridges through 14 minutes. But there is a couple guys on 4 fouls, those being Washburn and Lloyd still. None of our starters are in that bad of territory. Evans is on 3, but I don't know if he'll foul out. We are still doing better than them in field goal percentage. 3-point percentage. They're technically a little bit better than us, not by a lot. And technically, free throws, they are better than us. But they've also had right around the same amount of attempts. So I guess we drew a lot more free throws in that third quarter because now the difference in free throws is only like 5. So we are definitely back in this game. But we got to make sure that they don't match us point for point. And hopefully we can go on a good run that basically gets this game tied again or gets us that lead. And then hopefully we could find a way to make sure we maintain that lead. Anyways, fourth quarter underway. Let's get off to a good start here, boys. Let's make this a close game again. There's a good start. It's a 2-point game, and now it's a tied game again. We grabbed that lead. What a start to the fourth quarter for the boys, and now we're in that back and forth territory. Like I said, a lot of these games have been very close. And this might be another one of those games. We're going back to slow sim speed again because it makes it a little bit more climactic. We're up by 8 points. Only by 5 points. So, boy, it's still really close in this one. Still really close. Let me stop the sim for a second. 4-point game. All right. I like that we came out firing to start the fourth, though. That's really good to see because maybe that makes a difference in this game by the end of it. Maybe our starters are picking up a lot of points, or maybe some people are just being smarter with the ball. But let's see if we can keep getting some points here. It's a 2-point game all of a sudden. Yikes, this is close. This is going to be close. No points for us in the last little bit here. We're up by 4 points. Okay, we do get a 2-pointer there. Maybe we're going to get some trips to the free throw line as it's a 2-point game with a minute to go. Let's see. Oh my goodness. 45 seconds to go. We do go up by another 2 points. It is a 4-point game with 37 seconds. 18 seconds. We're up by 6 with 12 seconds to go. We should have this in the bag. The answer is yes, we do. 128-122 win. A big fourth quarter wins us the game and gives us a 3-1 series lead. Shout out to OKC, though. Even if we end up beating them in the series, they've been definitely giving us a bit of a tougher time than I'd expect. But shout out to Shams mentioning 128-122 win in the corner. 37-24 in that fourth quarter. That was a big quarter for us. Westbrook dropped 25 points again, so he's continuing to be the best player in the series for us. Good win in Semenko dropped 23 points. We had Carroll on 18 and 10 assists, which is crazy. Evans on 17, so we got some really good depth scoring. Semenko actually technically fouled, though, but it's probably late in the game. Bishop on 12 and 11, so it looks like Bishop started to step up a bit. Washburn on 6, Lloyd on 2, Warren on 2, and then Bridges had nothing and was still in those 14 minutes, so not a bad game. Only had one guy foul out, I think. And free throws, they were technically better than us. 3-pointers, they were technically better than us too. But the difference in the game is the field goal percentage. They were 47% only. We were 56%. So that's a big win for us. And they once again out-rebounded us offensively and defensively. They had 20 offensive rebounds. We had only 8. And then defensive rebounds, they had 38. We had 35. So I think a big reason for that is because they're probably a big man team, so they could get a lot more rebounds. For us, our main rebounder is Bishop, and if he's not rebounding, you can get some rebounds from Westbrook, but there's not really much else in terms of the rebounding, I feel like, on this team. So, anyways, though, San Antonio did pull off the sweep on Denver, so if we do win the next game, we will be taking on the Spurs again. Not really a surprise. Lakers and Utah are tied. Minnesota's up 3-1 on Dallas. Damn. So that might be a big upset coming. Minnesota was a playing round team, of course, but they might be knocking out the second-seeded Dallas Mavericks. Philadelphia has swept Charlotte, so Chip Parker's been eliminated. Miami is up 3-1 on Cleveland, so the 5 might eliminate the 4. Detroit's up 3-1 on New York. Washington's up 3-1 on Milwaukee, so I guess Milwaukee might not go far this year. I was thinking they might be a dark horse, but I don't know if they had some injury trouble to start the playoffs, but they definitely, I feel like, should have been better in that series, but they're still in it technically, but they might lose. But I have a feeling that technically after this round, if we win, we're going to be probably going up against teams we've played before. Like LA, it could be LA, Minnesota here, or it could be Utah, Minnesota here, and then it could be like a rematch of last year or LA's matchup, There's going to be definitely a lot of teams we've already seen before, but it's still going to be fun to see if our team could get it done again. Because some of these other teams probably have been drafting some good players while we've been always last in the draft too. So going to be interesting to see how they compare to us. But let's get to game 5 and let's see if we could close out OKC. We're back on home court. We won 2 games in OKC, which is fantastic. Now let's see if we could win here and meet up with San Antonio in round 2. Obviously, that would mean going up against Wemby and all that, but we have played them before, and we know that we could beat them. Last year, I think they won the one game against us, if I remember right, in round 1, so they do have experience beating us, but I think we could still probably beat them, unless they've added some more players since we played them last year. So, anyways, first quarter underway, back in Anchorage. Our fans are behind us, of course. Our fans are kind of spoiled in a way with all the championship parades they've had the last few years, but we don't really care. We're trying to go for another one. We like to have that yearly anniversary where we celebrate our championship trophy from the year before, but we also celebrate a new trophy too. So we'll see if this team is able to get themselves back to round 2 again. So far, looks like we're off to a pretty good start here offensively again, which is good to see. There's been some games where we start off a little bit slow, but this one looks like it's a good offensive start because we are going to actually score 40-plus points in this first quarter. We have scored them 42-25, so almost a 20-point lead out of the gate, which is really, really good. Definitely our strongest start to a game, I think, so far in this round. Semenko's already on 8 points. We have Goodwin on Westbrook on 7. Lloyd's on 5 off the bench. Carroll's on 4. Bridges on 4. Evans is only on 3. Kind of weird when Evans is getting outscored by Bridges. Washburn on 2. Warren's on 2. Everybody on this team has points so far except for Bishop. So looking decent so far early on. Let's keep it going. And if you want, beat them up badly. But at the same time, OKC, even if we beat you here and win the series, shout out to you for actually giving us a lot of trouble early on, I'd say. Because some of those games, they could have beaten us too. But we managed to edge them out by like 6 points or something like that. So shout out to them for at least having a chance to beat us in some of those games. They definitely... I didn't expect them to be as tough as they were, but... I shouldn't be speaking too soon, no, because this game is down to single digits, and now it's only like a 6-point game, so they are not maybe done yet, as we're going to be up by only 5 points going into the second half, as 56-51 is the lead. So far in terms of points, Evans has got 11 points so far. We have 9 from Goodwin. Semenko's on 8. Westbrook's on 7, but he's got 4 fouls already, so he might foul out in this game. Lloyd on 5, of course. Carroll is only on 4. He needs to be doing better. Washburn's on 4. A couple of our starters have been kind of quiet. Bishop's only on 2 as well, and he's on 3 fouls. So we might have to reach into the bench in this game, which is not ideal. Field goal percentage we're better at. 3-point percentage we're much better at. That's probably why we're winning this game. They're only 2 for 12 from 3-point percentage. And then in terms of free throws, they've had almost 20 more attempts to the free throw line than us. God damn. We're 4 for 5, which is great, but they're 17 for 24. So, yeah, they definitely are getting a lot more trips to the free throw line, and that's maybe why that second quarter was a lot closer. Anyways, we're up by 5 points still. It's good, but obviously it's not as good as how much we were up by at the end of the first. We should have at least maintained a double-digit lead, but we didn't, so we got to be careful. Let's have a good third quarter here, and let's respond to a tough second. Third quarter underway. Oh my goodness, it's only a 2-point game, and now they have the lead. Maybe I should not have spoke too soon. Maybe I should not have spoke too soon about this being near the end of the series, but... oh my goodness. Okay, at least it's still close. We are making sure they don't get too far ahead of us, but they are definitely still scaring us. And like I said, shout out to them, though, for at least pushing really hard against us. And now I've taken the lead back. Because you don't usually... sometimes we don't get these type of teams that are really that good against us. But OKC is definitely one of these teams that have had a little bit by the balls in some of these games. Now it's 85-84. It's only a 1-point game, but they are still up in this game. But that's actually insane because we outscored them so badly in the first. Like I said, we outscored them by 17 points in that first. And then all of a sudden it was only like a 6-point game, or a 5-point game actually. And now it's a 1-point lead for them. So... little bit nervous on that. But Evans has dropped 20 points. He's already on 4 fouls. A little crazy on that. Goins on 15. Then it drops off to only 10 points. So the depth scoring is still evident, but we aren't getting as much people picking up 10 plus points right now. And we do have a lot of guys on multiple fouls. So that's definitely a difference right now. They've been to the free throw line 32 times. We've only been to the free throw line 9 times. So their players are very disciplined right now. We are better in 3-point percentage and barely better in field goal percentage. We're 49%, they're 48%. So it's going to come down to basically if we could get more trips to the free throw line in the fourth quarter and if our 3-ball continues working. And we could obviously take that lead back. Because they are actually not out-rebounding us right now in this game. Every other game before this, I think they have. So... we obviously got to be still continuing to be good on the glass And maybe that could help us, of course, play good defensively and get the lead or get maybe some second chance points. But let's see what happens. Fourth quarter underway. Let's see if we could get that lead back as we're in that back and forth status. What a surprise. It's probably going to be like that right till the end at this point, which means I'll probably have to go down to a slow sim speed soon. But this is definitely a closer game than it should have been early on. Let's go down to a slow sim speed here. We're up by a lot of points now, okay? That's good to see. We're up by 8 points. 5 points only. A little bit of a slow stretch here. Only up by 7 points now. Okay, I think we're getting close. Actually, maybe not. Never mind. It's a 3-point game again. Now it's a tie game with 3 minutes left. Oh my goodness. We've had so many close games with them. Like I said, even if we win this game, they've definitely been maybe one of the toughest threats we've had to go up against us in quite a while. So let's continue to go through these last 3 minutes. We do get the lead. By 2 points, I think? Yeah, by 2 points. Wasn't a 3-point shot. They tie the game back up again. Not a surprise. Next possession, we go up by 2 points again. And do they answer? No, they don't. They were up by 3 points with 1:04. We're up by 6 points all of a sudden with 56 seconds left. We might have hit a big 3 there or something like that. 6-point lead at this point is pretty good. You just got to make sure that you don't get any fouls. And you got to make sure, of course, that they don't get any clean shots out. So, let's see. Still up by 6 points. 27 seconds left. Let's see if we got it. We're up by only 4 points with 9 seconds. We should have this. Unless somebody gets, like... We could even not... I don't know if I would intentionally foul them. Because then they could get 2 shots or something only. And then they would only be within 2. I don't know what I would do in this situation. But we should be good. As long as they don't get a 3 ball and somehow get the ball back right away. They're definitely going to intentionally foul right afterwards if they do get a 3 ball. Oh, they did actually get another point, though. Or 2 points. And we end up winning by 2 points in that game. So that's a very close game at the end of it. And like I said, shout out to OKC. I knew you were going to give us a little bit of a run after that first game. This last game, I thought they might have been able to take it too, but you don't get it done. That was definitely a tough first round. The good thing is that we're going to round 2, and hopefully we play a little bit better against a team like San Antonio. But yeah, 119 to 117 box score. Evans drops 34 points. What a guy. 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Goodwin on 20 points. We had Westbrook on 17. Carroll and Bishop dropped 12 points. Semenko on 9. Lloyd on 5. Washburn on 4. Bridges on 4. And Warren on 2. So the difference in the game basically is having a couple bench players pick up some points because Warren's 2 points basically made us win that game when you think about it. Team comparison, field goal percentage, they were actually a little bit better than we were, 52 to 50. 3-point percentage, 38 to 30 for us. So that's definitely what helped us win at the end of the day. And then free throw percentage, they were worse than us by a little bit. We had right around the same amount of attempts now. So I guess they fouled us near the end, but we had 78%. They had 75%. And then in terms of offensive rebounds, we had 17 to their 12 and 31 to their 29 on defense. So we started to figure out our rebounding game a little bit, and that's what helped us win that game. So nice to close them out in 5 games, but definitely was a tighter series than we initially projected. But then when they won game 1, it looked like they were going to be a tough team. Some of those other games were kind of close, but we managed to show that we were still the better team. And I'm glad that we're on to this next round. But let's take a look at our player stats, and then we will see what San Antonio is rocking for the roster. And we'll also see what the other matchups are like for round 2. But our player stats so far in the playoffs, if we're sorting by points per game here. Actually, this is regular season. What the heck is this? I want to go to playoffs, not season stats. Because I don't care about regular season stats that much right now. So in player stats for the playoffs, so far Evans has been the best guy, 25 points per game. Westbrook's been really good too on 21 points per game. Kind of turning back the clock, like I said, a little bit. Goodwin and Semenko are on 17 plus points a game as well. Bishop on 14.8, Carroll on 13. So we're getting some good depth scoring. Washburn on 9. So that is promising. Rebounds per game so far. Bishop's been doing a lot of it, of course. We got a couple other guys on 5+. Assists per game, it's mostly Carroll. Not a surprise on that. Evans up there, Semenko. Stealing, Bishop, Carroll, and Evans all over one. Blocks is Bishop and Semenko. But we are getting into foul trouble. You can see all these guys are over around 3 fouls a game, so not necessarily the best. So hopefully that improves a little bit. All right, so there is that. Let's see who ends up advancing out of these other series, just so we can kind of sim this all the way up to the time it's supposed to. There we go, and there we go. So here is the final four, or not final four, final 8, I should say. Or final 4 in each conference, I guess I could say too. So it's us and San Antonio, Lakers, and Minnesota. So Minnesota does pull off the upset, knocks out the 2nd seed Dallas Mavericks. So Minnesota will play LA. That's going to be an interesting matchup. And then Philadelphia is playing Miami. Miami does knock out the higher seeded team in 5 games. And then Washington did take out Milwaukee, and they'll face off against Detroit. So technically, the Eastern Conference still has the 1, 2, 3 seed and a 5 seed. The Western Conference has a 1, 3, 4, and a 7 seed. So there is some underdog teams still in the playoff mix, but there's also some really good teams. All right, well, let's take a look at what San Antonio is looking like. Let's go to team comparison stuff here and see their staff and all that stuff. So their head coach is Darko, which obviously Darko is in real life. He's still the Toronto Raptors head coach. This is their strengths: passing, 3-point shooting, and mid-range shooting. Their weaknesses are strength, dunks, and low post offense. Interesting. In terms of that, they're definitely way over budget, just like us. Not a surprise. Average age of 29, so they are a bit of an older team. And this is what their roster looks like, and it looks very similar to last year, I think. They have Trevor Lydon still. Dylan Harper, hopefully he's not fully healthy like he was last year. Bryce Sensabaugh is also there. I think that's new. Yes, Sensabaugh wasn't there last year. He was in Memphis, apparently. There's also Derek Moody, who's only a 77? Wasn't he a higher overall last year when we played them? Or maybe he was on the 3rd bench last year. Wemby, of course, is still there. Malik Towns. I don't remember if he was. Yeah, he was. I knew the name, but I wasn't sure if he was on this team or not. Ethan Marshall, I remember him being here last year, but he's been on some other teams as well. LaMelo Ball is a Spur. I forgot about that. That was a trade that happened at the draft last year. They traded for LaMelo. And LaMelo is not the same type of player as he used to be, but he's coming off the bench and picking up around 10 points a game, looks like. But he was in Boston before this. There's also Jamie Nelson, Lex Reed, Jimmy Townsend. Wait, Jimmy Townsend? That name sounds familiar. Oh, maybe that's from last year. I feel like I remember him in the draft too, though. Art Hendricks. There's Dalen Taylor and Jay Sean Lyles. Imagine being a white guy named Jay Sean. That's funny. But yeah, this team doesn't look actually as strong as they used to. I mean, they still have Lydon, Harper, and Wembanyama, which is really good. But I think last year they might have looked better, if I remember right. Let's take a comparison on the team comparison page. Also, I want to see how they did during the season too, actually, for that matter. So let's do that first. So they were the 4th seed in this conference, of course, 48-34. Technically, they were scoring 115.5 points per game, which is decently good offensively. They're top 4 offensive team in the conference. Points allowed per game, they were where? They weren't that great defensively. They were like top 10 still, but And a 3.9 differential. Was technically the 3rd best, actually, in the conference. So they're a solid team, but I don't think they're really going to pose much of a threat to us. They were 7-3 going into the playoffs, so who knows? But yeah, not necessarily the toughest team in the regular season. So far in the playoffs, if we compare the two, where do I look at the playoff records? Oh, actually, if I go playoff stats and team stats, there you go. They actually swept the first round. Let's just go. Can I just go Western Conference or no? I guess not. But yeah, they were 4-0 in the first round. We were 4-1. We are both averaging around the same amount of points per game. They are averaging 128.5. We're averaging 128.2. But they have the much better defensive results, 111.5 to our 123.6. So I don't know if it's just because of the team we faced, an OKC that was tough, but We were not that good defensively, but we had similar offenses as the Spurs because they have a way better differential right now than us. Field goal percentage, we were better at 52.5. They're 49.7. 3-point percentage, they are a little bit better than us. Free throws, they were better than us. Offensive rebounds, we were getting better at than they were. Defensive rebounds, they were much better, not surprised with a guy like Wemby. And then rebounds per game total, they were better at us. Assists per game, steals per game, damn, they were better than us in a lot of areas in that first round. But maybe they had an easier time. It depends. Who were they facing again? Denver. Yeah, I think only Denver is just getting back into the playoff mix, so maybe it was just easier because of that. I feel like we're definitely going to be stronger against them than Denver would be, but who knows. But let's actually go to, again, San Antonio's roster for a second here. I want to see if they're battling any injuries. See about that. Looks like they are not. Yeah, they're fully healthy. They're fully healthy. So none of these guys are having any lingering injuries, which is good for them. Last year, like I was mentioning, Dylan Harper had a little bit of an injury, and I think somebody else did too. So that kind of helped us win games. But yeah, containing Harper, Wembanyama, and Leiden's going to be tough. I feel like LaMelo Ball could do some decent stuff off the bench too, so we got to watch out about that. All right, final thing, the actual team comparison page, just to kind of get a little bit better of a look at everything. In terms of our strengths versus weakness, you could see both of us have strengths in three-point shooting, but they also have strengths in passing, and mid-range is a little bit lower than ours, so we technically have the upper hand in shooting, I would say. We have the upper hand in layups, of course, but they have the upper hand in the passing game, probably because of Dylan Harper, my guess. But they have weaknesses, and we have no weaknesses. In terms of matchup report, we're excellent in the last 5 and good in the top. They're excellent in the top, good in the next 2, excellent in the next one, good and great in the last 2. So we should be better in most of those areas. Apparently last time we played them, we won 119-88. And it says spread consensus pick is us. So I would assume that means technically the consensus pick is we'd win the series. Projected lineup, of course. Ours is Carroll, Goodwin, Evans, Westbrook, and Bishop. Theirs is Leiden, Harper, Sensabaugh, Moody, and Wembanyama. And if you look at the comparison in points per game and all that, technically Wemby's the main one to watch out for. And then Harper's the assist per game guy. But Harper and Carroll are basically similar players in terms of how they pass. And then I guess technically Wemby is just a machine. And like his rebounding is insane. Like that's going to be a tough thing for Bishop to go up against in our team, is trying to contain Wemby's rebounding. 14.5 rebounds per game. Bishop was only on 10. So that's definitely a tough spot. Blocks per game. Wemby's averaging 2.5 right now and 2 steals per game. So from a defensive standpoint, containing Wemby is going to be really tough. But offensively, we might be able to get it done. So stat ranking. There's a little comparison on this in case you guys wanted to take a look at this, just because I don't have time to read it all out. And then the shot chart. We have a lot more green than they do. Some of their green is a little bit more in the brown, but they definitely still look like they're going to be a pretty good team to go up against. So I do see this series probably being a little bit of a tough one again, but I do think they aren't going to be posing that much of a threat to us unless Wemby just goes completely off, which he probably can do because he is getting closer to the end of his career. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Ranker's Ice Tigers Draft to Glory MyNBA. So in next episode, we'll take it to round 2 against Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs as we look to get back to conference finals again against either the Lakers or the Minnesota Timberwolves. So think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.